Well, 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 here we are again. Same music, same tune, same beat, and definitely same message. This is the Black Post. This evening, the message will be sent. No matter if you love it, no matter if you hate it, the message will be sent. The Demoncrats are once again our master. Every now and again, the Democrats with the Republic Klansmen pass us to and fro like a piece of chicken at a Sunday night barbecue. But this is what I've understood about our melanated Nubian brothers and sisters. That are we so easily persuaded? Are we so easily manipulated time and time and time again? Doesn't really matter who's in office, whether it be a so-called African-American president like you bootleg's favorite, Barack Hussein Obama, or your new Democrat Massa, Joe Jim Crow Biden, with his fellow truancy law enforcement agent, Kamala Harris. So I wonder, what can these two absolutely cup up against the Black community? Now, the Black media have putting this out time and time again, and I'm not the most eloquent of them all, but I'm probably the most down to earth and street of them all, but probably with one of the most lowest vocabulary for everyone can understand all the fucking words I say out of my mouth. It's that now those bootlicking Black politicians from the Congressional Black Con job, as Tariq Nasheed would say, are now looking to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris with their handout, looking for positions, titles, funding, and resources after selling out their entire race again. And who's leading the pack is your buddy, your friend, your fish fry and pal, Jim Clyburn. See, I wonder, when are the new age, Generation X, Generation Z, millennials are going to stand up and understand that those old niggas from the the baby boom collection, because that's what they are, have sold us out once again for personal interest and personal gain. I was looking at the news the other day, and I continue to see the same thing pop up time and time again. Not this particular story, but what Biden owes Black people. Well, when I saw Barack Obama on the Breakfast Club with Charlamagne the God, Angela Yee, and DJ Envy, Charlamagne the God was actually asking some real questions. And one of those real questions was, now that Black people have brought the presidency back to the Demoncrats, and I'm saying that exactly how it should be said, Demoncrats, that what do the Biden campaign owes to Black people? Do you want to know what Barack Obama said? And I should have prepared a sound clip, but the Black Authority have already prepared a sound clip. So if you want to get the full sound clip in his narrative, then go over to the Black Authority channel. But for right now, I want you to just stay right here and listen to what I'm saying. Because Barack Obama said that the Biden campaign owes Black people just as much as they owe any other people in group is justice. That is what Barack Obama said. See, what people don't understand, back in 2008, Obama was asked the question, do you support reparations for African American descendants of slaves. Barack Obama then turned around to the audience and say, I believe that North Carolina school systems need reparations. That's what he said. He have always deflected. He's always used some sort of benign neglect of a question. And this guy is so intelligent. He's so cunning and he's so manipulative. And he does it right in front of your very eyes. And some Negroes are so stupid, so dumb that they don't even catch it. They don't even understand what this guy is saying without saying it. See, if anybody he can hear, and anyone who can listen, and anyone who can pretty much deconstruct, he's telling a bold-faced lie over and over again. You ever heard that saying that when someone asks you a question and you only give them the half truth, then you're lying? Well, Obama's been doing that for the past 10 years. Obama has been doing that for the past 12 years. He lied to us to get the vote for Joe Biden. He lied to us even through his presidency. Because how the lives of Black people have changed throughout the years. On this cast with Charlemagne the God, Barack Obama told him that essentially the same thing that Kamala Harris told the reporter. It's that basically they're not going to do anything to help Black people without helping everyone else. This has been the story time and time again. And our situation has not changed. See, they keep talking about some sort of lift act. And Tariq Nasheed on his Twitter page had a really good depiction of what the lift act was. Basically, there was a platform. First picture was basically everyone stepping on a Black man with a Hispanic or East Indian holding a Asian person up, holding up a Muslim person up, and that person was holding up a white person. And then when the lift gap came in, the only thing they did was put in a platform and raised everybody up, but Blacks were still on the bottom. I don't need to go into all the contributions that African Americans have made to this country or talk about the $15 trillion in wealth that we have, that our ancestors have put in the works with their lives for this country. I won't get into that. But what I'll get into is these bootlicking Negroes now are praising White Zaddy for the presidency so-called that they've given to him because he's won, 86, 88% of the Black female vote? Or was it over 90%? But nonetheless, he's won the majority of the Black female and Black male vote. And now he literally gave Black people a pat on the head, and that's believed that's all he has to do. Have you noticed that Black people are historically Democrats? And have you also noticed that historically that Black people are still in the same position we was regardless who was in the presidency? That is because when I did my video, Hold the Vote, I had a lot of people questioning me and asking me, why would we vote? This is why. This is why. Now you have no power. Now you have no position. Now you do not have a bargaining chip of what you want as a people. Yeah, there's going to be some crumbs that Joe Biden going to give to Black people as far as position in his cabinet. Yeah, sure it is. This to save face. But when we're talking about the majority of African Americans' lives changing because of a president, then you'll be sadly mistaken and you will fall for the trick bag again. And it's going to be absolutely nothing, zero, and nada. I don't understand it. Whether it was Bill Clinton, George Bush, Barack Obama, and now Joe Biden. What is going to wake up in people, especially Black people, B1 Brigade people, which I know you guys are not standing for this mess, and actually use your vote as a power play, as a bargaining chip. I've had this conversation with many people in many different arenas and different scenes and different settings. And some of them are in the knowing of what is and what isn't. And some are just plain stupid, to say the least. They don't have a clue. See, doesn't matter the education level, whether they are manipulated or they know exactly what's going on. They would rather have 1% of Black people doing well rather than 99% of Black people actually living and pursuing their dreams. Now it says here, what Biden owes Black voters. Black voters helped save the president-elect's primary campaign and put him over the top in the general election. Now they want action. So you voted for someone and now you're asking for something. Interesting. I will have you guys to go back and listen to my Hold the Vote program. Because it's very important, because in that program, there's a lot of metaphors and analogies about basically why in the hell would you ask for something after you already put the person in position? No other party, no other people has ever done this. They always get what they want up front on paper, in terms, intangibles, but not Black people. We would like to believe the Demoncrat masses time and time again. And guess what? We are left with our hands open wide with nothing in them. But we're not learning. And that's why every other race laughs at us. That's why every other race baits us. They hate us. Why is that? The racism, the white supremacy, or is it just the plain stupidity of our race as a conglomerate whole? I wish that we can influence and persuade our people just basically to open up their eyes and open up their ears and understand that when are you going to learn that you've been tricked time and time again, term after term, 4 years after 4 years? Because again, all skin folk, not your kinfolk. And Barack Obama has been campaigning for this man because he was his VP. Of course, he was going to campaign for him. And of course, this is going to be probably another 4 years of Obama. We know that. But this is what some of you will like. Some of you just love Obama for whatever reason. He didn't do anything for you. And if he did something for you, please let me know. If someone tells me that, oh, yeah, like he said on the Breakfast Club, that, 10 million more African Americans got affordable health care through Obama. Well, didn't everybody get affordable health care through Obama? But when the question was asked about him doing anything specifically for Black people, Barack Obama did not have an answer. He was saying how his policies and laws majorly affected the Black community. And that was debunked because they majorly affected any low income neighborhood. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? As far as the population, African Americans are third. We are only 13.4% of the population, while Hispanics are around 17% and Caucasians around 76%. And out of that 76% of Caucasians, how many of them are impoverished? At least 30%. So you tell me. Those legislations and laws mostly affected who now? Exactly. This is the problem that we run into time and time again because people do not understand numbers. People don't understand history. People don't understand words. But let me get more into this story so you understand exactly where I'm going here. On February 29th, hundreds of Joe Biden supporters stood densely packed in the volleyball center at the University of South Carolina, and the room went silent as Brian Williams' voice blared through the loudspeakers. Poll had just closed in South Carolina. Basically, Joe Biden won. Now, on November 7, as Biden basked in the results of projected general election victory and raved about the coalition his campaign had cobbled together, he again pointed to the voters who had propped him up. Especially for those moments when this campaign was at its lowest ebb, he said, before turning to the camera and pounding his fist into the electorate for the emphasis, the African American community stood up again for me. That is what Joe Biden said. And understand this, the African Americans stood up and came out with record numbers voting for Joe Biden with the absolutely agenda and plan for zero, zilch, and nothing. And I know Joe Biden's like, these have to be the most dumbest motherfuckers on earth. I disrespected the African American community time and time again, disregarding my 1994 crime bill, disregarding my 1986 anti-drug bill, because most African Americans are not going to even remember that. The baby boomers who mostly got incarcerated, their uncles, their fathers, their grandfathers, who are mostly locked up, even these Negroes don't even remember that. That's how dumb they think we are. But I know we have a lot of intelligent Black brothers and sisters, but we have to understand those ones who are intelligent, who are supporting this, I believe they have special interests. And they are definitely not Black first. But according to the numbers, the African American community, once again, saved Joe Biden with the promise and the agenda of nothing. Because now, why would you ask someone now to give you something after you already voted for them, rather than holding the power play, holding the bargaining chip, and demanding what you want rather than giving your vote and then asking with your hand out like, I'm already in power. Why do I have to do anything for you now? But again, he's going to appoint some Black bootlicks, some Black bourgeoisie bootlicks up in the cabinet. In order to save face. This is a showing. This is a show. Because he's going to give them very non-effective positions in his cabinet. And I believe he's already elected Black females as UN. Let's see how long that lasts. But here we go. American patiently and impatiently waiting for days as the election officials counted ballots in Wisconsin and Michigan. And they continue to wait as officials count ballots in Pennsylvania and Georgia. But again, this goes on and on and on and on and on. And here we are celebrating that Joe Biden, our Democrat white Masa, became president. And this was all basically based off the hate and the white supremacy that Donald Trump showed throughout his cabinet. But what people don't understand, whether you show white supremacy through your words and or your action, you're still a white supremacist. So if Donald Trump is a white supremacist and he showed that through his words, then what is Joe Biden when he showed it through his actions with his policy of the 1994 crime bill, the 1986 anti-drug bill? Or what about when Joe Biden, quite frankly, came on TV and said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black? What in the hell does that mean? See, I thought that would offend us, but I guess the more racist you talk to us, the more you belittle us, the more you treat us like you're a slave, then I think the more we are to fall in line. The record has shown time and time again. The Biden campaign leaders actively sought out to court Black voters throughout the base. They dispatched Magic Johnson to Detroit, Barack Obama to Philadelphia, and Spike Lee to Atlanta to speak explicitly to Black men. They listened to people such as Abrams on what the effects of reaching out to Black voters and registering new voters would be, and they highlighted aspects of their blueprint for America, such as funding for historical Black colleges and universities and boosting retirement savings that would especially affect Black Americans. Now, we understand that education is not the one thing that's plaguing Black America. Majority of the people I know did not go to college. They don't need help with their student loan bills. They need help with money. They need help with funding. They need help with resources. They need help with opportunities. We understand that going to college is another way to give white people more of your money. Some of these schools are ridiculously priced, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. And that's to say the least bit. And there's no guarantee of a job. There's no guarantee of a skill. Did you know that majority of college education, you don't come away with any tangible skills. You come away with an education, meaning that you read a lot of books, that you took a lot of tests. But I guarantee if you went to plumber school, electrician school, HVAC school, mechanic school, if you became a pilot, did you know you do not need a degree to attend pilot school? Did you know that? That is a skill. That is a skill. Now, like myself, most people just have an education, meaning that you can walk into most jobs and become some sort of business manager, operation manager, maybe a project manager. Basically, you know how to associate, rearrange, and organize paperwork. That's basically what it is. Now, it's a little more complex than that on some occasions, but nonetheless, what they're talking about here, historically Black colleges and universities and boosting retirement savings, most Black people don't have retirement savings, let alone a job to retire from, because of on-job discrimination, unlawful firing. There's one thing I do agree with Barack Obama on. Black people do need justice, but that's only a piece of the pie. Now that the victory has been claimed, however, the president-elect will be expected to turn to action. Biden has typically leaned on moderate policies that have been piecemeal solutions to the problems Black Americans have faced, or policies such as the 1994 crime bill that have made life worse for Black citizens. We would like to recognize that this crime bill that Joe Biden keeps running from, that has made it worse for Black citizens. On the campaign trail, he apologized for that bill and made significant leftward policy shifts. But now it's important that Biden, follows through on most of the promises he made during the campaign. And this was Mandela Barnes who said this. Wisconsin's lieutenant governor told me Black voters outspoken throughout the year have consistently expressed the feelings that politicians care about them only when they want their vote. Duh, dummy. That's the only time they care about Black people, period. Or rather, Black people's vote. We continue to see this. It's like a broken freaking record. Time and time again, I keep seeing Black politicians like, this seems like the only time that politicians care about Black voters is during election year. Yes, that's the only time. And during the election year, they still don't give us tangibles. They still don't offer us tangibles. What they do is they come and they shake our hand and pat us on the back and say, well, good job, Negro. You done got me 200 more thousand votes. That's what has occurred here. It says, express the feelings that politicians care about them only when they want their vote, then forget about them after the election day. Surprisingly, in the July survey of Black voters in battleground states from American University, more than 60% of Black voters said they believe that elected leaders looked out for their interests. He wasn't shy about things that he said during the campaign, but now it's about coming through, Bond said. All you niggas are stupid. They continue to believe that when you go out and vote and you elect someone and you give them your power. Have you noticed that the Asian community never asks for anything after the election? Have you noticed that the Hispanic community never asks for anything after the election? Have you noticed that the white community never asks for anything after the election? Why are Black people the only mofos that ask for tangibles after the election, after they have given them their vote? Does that make any sense? But for you who voted, please let me know how it turns out. But see, they were like the demonized Donald Trump about how racist he is and that he didn't handle the coronavirus. Well, what happens when the coronavirus is gone? Are you guys going to give tribute and congratulations to Joe Biden for handling the coronavirus so well? But what's going to happen to Black people? And there's even Black people warring against each other, saying, well, you know, I did what I had to do to make it, then why can't you? And then they forget exactly where they came from, how they came from it, and the support they had to get out of there. This is why it's so important that Black people do not forget their roots. And if any Black person is talking like that, then they're absolutely not thinking Black first. They're thinking me first, me first. I'm worried about me. See, this right here goes to show you Trump and Biden supporters differ over importance of the economy, healthcare, and particularly the coronavirus. What happens when the coronavirus is gone? If I type in here, Black voters are asking Joe Biden for tangibles. Black voters help deliver a presidential victory now. President victory now. Now what? Joe Biden thanked Black voters in this victorious speech, saying, you've always had my back and I'll have yours. What does that mean, Joe Biden? What does that mean you'll have our back? Does that mean that you would decrease the police funding? Does that mean that you will start writing intangibles? Or does that mean you're going to revisit Ice Cube contract with Black America? What does that exactly mean? How can I hold on to I'll have yours? Kind of like what Barack Obama was saying. Hope and change. Hope never fed anybody. And I don't know exactly what change is because I'm still living in the same America that I did back in 2008 when Barack Obama became the so-called first African-American president. Because we need to understand too that Barack Obama does not consider himself Black, even though he will say Black, but he will never consider himself Black because he understands that Black has no standing at law. And that's kind of the, you know, Dred versus Scott case, meaning that if you're Black, you cannot become a citizen. And that has yet to be overturned. When President-elect Joseph R. Biden Jr. thanked Black voters in his victory speech on Saturday night for rescuing his campaign when it was at his lowest point and declared, you've always had my back and I'll have yours. Courtney Nims did not cheer like the hundreds in attendance. Instead, listening to Mr. Biden in Wilmington, Delaware, from our hometown Detroit, she felt somewhat skeptical. You did, huh? Interesting. Okay, let's see if he's really being honest about this. Ms. Nelson 42 is Black Recall Thinking. My prayer is that it's not just lip service. Well, it's always been lip service. It doesn't matter if it's been a Republican or a Democrat. It's always been lip service when it comes to African-American people. While Black voters across the country celebrating the election of Mr. Biden and Vice President Senator Kamala Harris of California, many said in recent days that the administration will have to prove its sincerity and came to addressing the country's vast inequalities and systematic barriers. Now, why are we still here? Let me read these. Let me just read these words that mean nothing again. Country's vast inequalities and systematic barriers. Oh, you mean that racism still exists? Yes. You mean that we still live in a system of white supremacy? Yes. You mean that Black people are still being oppressed? Yes. You're still saying that even though we've contributed the most to this country, that we get the least? Yes. That is what she's saying. Okay. I had to define what she was saying. I am hopeful and willing to give Biden a chance, but I'm not completely sold, said Jerry Work for 53, who is Black and lives in suburban Atlanta. Well, let me tell you, it doesn't matter if you're willing to give Joe Biden a chance or not. You have already given him the presidency. Now, once again, the Democrats are our Masa. See, we understood that regardless if you're Republican or not, most Black people historically are Democrats. So when Donald Trump was in office, it's not like he was going to get that much support from Black people anyway. But we understand when the Republican Klansmen are in office that we just kind of idly wait by for the next suitable Democrat to be our Massa again. Because they come in and they shake our hands, and they pat us on the head, and they talk about the great things that they may hint around, may do for Black people, maybe if we get a chance. But, we don't have the Senate. The Republicans own the Senate. We can't pass nothing through the House because the Republicans have the House. But it's amazing how they get certain things done through earmarks and also through executive orders. In this year's election, Mr. Biden attracted about 87% of the Black vote. 87%. At the same time, Mr. Trump, despite being widely viewed as inflammatory racial hatred, gained more Black voters than in 2016. I wonder why, especially among Black men, according to exit polls. You want to know why? Even with racist Donald Trump in office, and he specifically didn't do anything for Black people. I mean, he supposedly gave the most money ever to HBCUs, but other than that, Donald Trump was an equal opportunity asshole. See, we would like to think he was just racist towards Blacks. No, he was racist towards Black. He was racist towards Asians. He was racist toward Muslims. He was racist toward Hispanics. And he was still hated by everybody because he was asshole to white people too. I didn't support him and I would never support him. But here's the point. I'd rather have somebody to hate everybody or pretend to be my damn friend and absolutely do nothing for me in return. Promise me everything. But in this term, once again, the Democrats haven't promised Black people anything. But we keep falling for the same irking jerk. This is like a merry-go-round. This is a merry-go-round. And we're just on it for the ride. Everybody else, they know when to get off the merry-go-round. But not us. We just stay on the merry-go-round, still thinking it's going to stop, and we're going to get what's ours. And we continue to get food time and time again. I think about 12 years ago. I think about that time in office when Barack Obama first sat up there and gave his speech, and everybody was teary-eyed and crying, and I was excited. I was clapping my hand. I told my friends and calls, like, I thought I'd never see this day that a Black man would be president. But after that, I realized during the second term, I didn't realize it the first 4 term, he had some sort of trance and hold over me, some sort of power. I think I was just so mesmerized that there was a Black president. But when I look back on those years, I realized my life didn't change at all. I didn't have any more. If anything, I had less. But this is what we go through. We continue to be tricked. We continue to be done in. I wonder what we're going to figure out. What the hell are we going to do next? We continue to get tricked time and time again. But you guys will still go out in droves and vote and vote and vote. Like her. In this year's election, Mr. Biden attracted 87% of the Black vote. See, in 24 interviews, some African-American voters echoed a long-standing political concern that they were underappreciated, particularly within the Democratic Party they have substantially supported for decades. While Democrats always face high expectations to deliver for Black communities, the pressure on Mr. Biden, a compromise first moderate, may be even greater because of the recent summer of protests over police brutality and systematic racism, the racial makeup of his electoral coalition in his own past. Do you understand that Joe Biden is going to give more money to the police? He told the police that I'm going to give you $300 million, just as well when Barack Obama signed the Blue Shield law. While all Black and brown people, not to give them any clout, when Black people like Trayvon Martin was getting killed with no justice, and I still don't understand how Mike Zimmerman is still walking around, but nonetheless, give them our power, and he turns around and signed a Blue Shield law, but never spoke up for justice for Trayvon Martin. Oh yeah, he gave a good speech, but you're the president of the free world. You mean to tell me that's the only thing you could do is give a speech? What about Sandra Bland? See, ladies and gentlemen, when are we going to wake the hell up? When are we going to wake the hell up? We're going to understand that regardless whoever's in the presidency, if we don't play hardball, we're going to continue to get fucked time and time and time again. It's like getting fucked, bent over with a large, rigid knife with no Vaseline shoved down in your anal cavity, deep diving in your ass time and time again. But we don't get it. Because we go out and we vote. And during this election term, just like anything else, we always have to make a spectacle of ourselves. We have to be in line, electric sliding and dancing about what? What are you dancing for? What are you getting? Why are you in line for fucking 4 and 5 hours? What are you receiving for your vote? Nothing. Now these Black bootlicks out here, these phony, faking frauds out here asking for something. Asking for something. What Biden owes Black voters. Well, let me tell you what Barack Obama said when he was on the Breakfast Club. He said the Biden campaign owes Black voters the same thing that he owes everyone else. Justice. Well, Barack Obama, everybody else is getting justice except Black people. Whether it's a white supremacist who speaks it or is a white supremacist who acts it. But then here's a question. Riddle me this. Who supports white supremacy? Your Black bootlets. Majority of your Black boule. Because they understand they support white supremacy and they are in positions of power that they're literally untouchable as long as they're carrying out what white supremacy have on their agenda for them. People like Jim Clyburn. People like Barack Obama. People like Simone Sanders, Angela Rye, Van Jones. The list continues to go on and on and on. It's like if they was at Thanksgiving and the only thing that they ate was a big pile of butter biscuits. Did anyone see Van Jones the other day crying on TV like a little bitch? Get your big strong ass off of TV crying like a little bitch talking about Donald Trump is out the presidency. Where they just showed you a picture shaking Donald Trump's hand. Smiling in his office, cooning, butt dancing, teeth showing. See, this is that bullshit that these Black people in high positions try to transcend into higher or keep their same position so they can continue to obtain power, authority, and wealth. But here we go again. What Biden owes Black voters now that majority of Black people voted for Joe Biden were the only people that asked for shit after the election. Do you hear Asians talking? Nope, not a sound. Do you hear white people talking? Nope, not a sound. Do you hear East Indians speaking? Nope, not a sound. Do you hear majority of Latinos speaking? No, not a sound. Black people are the only ones talking about what Joe Biden's going to do for them after the election. Let me go back. Stories like this. Black Americans have a message. Let me show you this. Where is it at? Give me a second. Give me a second. Oh, God, here we go. I don't want none of this. Black Americans have a message for Democrats. Not being Trump is not enough. Oh, now you want to say this. Now you want to say Black Americans have a message for Democrats. Not being Trump is not enough. Well, that is what you were saying prior to the election, that anything is better than Donald Trump. I am voting Donald Trump out of the office. But Donald Trump did not make any policy specifically that targeted Nubian melanated Black people. He did not. This is the problem. You tune in to CNN and MSNBC and you say, oh, look at how racist Donald Trump is, as they try to lift up your white zaddy Joe Biden, but they never would like to bring up his 1994 crime bill in the sense of, oh, it targeted majority of the Black community. His 1986 anti-drug bill, oh, it targeted majority of the Black community. Or Kamala Harris truancy law, it targeted majority of the Black community. You didn't hear that, not too much, have you? But every time you heard Donald Trump, tell me when you've heard a bill, a piece of legislation that Donald Trump made that targeted the Black community. You won't find it because it was never written, it was never passed, it was never proposed. See, Donald Trump was racist and arrogant and an asshole to everybody. If you wasn't for Donald Trump, then he treated you like shit regardless of your color. Whether he was talking to the Boogaloo Boys or the Proud Boys or America's First Nation, all these white supremacist groups, doesn't matter who he was talking to. But what the Democrats did was, again, manipulated African Americans to come out and vote for Joe Biden based on the fact that Donald Trump is a racist. But they didn't say, well, you know what? He's racist to everybody. He's racist to Asians too. He's racist to Hispanics too. He's assholes to white people too. Have you noticed that? But they didn't depict and analyze would Joe Biden writ most of the crime bill? But now, Black Americans have a message for Democrats. Not being Trump is not enough. Joe Biden wants to heal the soul of the country in this moment of protests and loss. And the win with the White House, simply telling people to vote in November, may not help with either goal. Wow. Exhaustion for many Black Americans across the country. What a year this has been. The coronavirus pandemic has continued to disreport and kill Black people. And in spite of high-profile killings in recent months in Georgia, Kentucky, and Minnesota, the later two had hands of the police, led to widespread demonstration nationwide. Protests shook more than 36 cities on Saturday as crowds expressed outrage over the death of George Floyd, a Black security guard who was killed in police custody in Minneapolis. Demonstrators shut down freeways, set fires, and battled police batons and tear gas, the pain and frustration of the moment spilling out all into the streets. Now, what has occurred during the Obama presidency that happened the same as the Trump presidency? There are many of Black people who died under Obama because of police brutality or white supremacy. But now that we're in hand of the Democrats again, ladies and gentlemen, we don't have anything to fear. We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. Hopefully, these next 4 years are going to tell our people something. These next 4 years, I hope it shows that our people, that regardless of who you vote for, if you don't ask for what you want up front, then you're not going to get anything. You're not going to get not one thing. And if those who are around you are asking why you're not voting, you have a simple question for them. You ask them, well, what am I voting for? What am I voting for? What in the hell am I voting for? When I vote, when I'm going to get to my vote, well, you're going to get Donald Trump out of office. That does nothing for me. When Obama was in office, it did nothing for me. Tell me what I'm going to get. Am I going to get resources? I'm going to get funding. I'm going to get opportunity. Am I going to get a piece of the $15 trillion my ancestors worked their ass off to get, which actually for 40 million African Americans is $375,000 per person? Am I going to get any of that? I'm going to see 50 grand of that, 25. Am I going to get what the Japanese internment campaign survivors receive? They receive 20,000. I'm going to get at least 20,000. Then if not, then I'm going to do diddly, squat, and shit. That means nothing until someone offers me tangibles.